Hey, this is Mark here at Gary's Guitars in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and I'm here to start. This is part one of a small series I'm going to call Open Books. And I'm going to talk about the economics of a guitar store, a small independent music retailer in the 21st century, and what that means in the broader sense of the market, and what that means in the broader sense of the retail market, what it means as you as a player, or any of that, all the things involved in that. I did a little video, just like I do these little videos, and it kind of blew up. And I was talking about the economics of buying and selling guitars. And so I thought, and I've been playing this one actually for a little while because I want to give people insight. Because sometimes when we go to buy a guitar or make a trade offer, I'll just tell them, this is open books. This is what things cost me. This is what I have to do. This is why I'm going to offer you this. Instead of like having some diabolical plan in the background for buying things too cheaply and selling them for a lot of money, I always just like to be super frank about the economics of this business. So, here it goes. I bought an independent guitar store 5 years ago. I essentially bought it. This is Gary's Guitars. My name is not Gary, although people call me Gary, and that's fine because I bought it because, first, it was my favorite guitar store. Second, Gary mentioned to me that he was thinking of closing the store, and that just economically it wasn't working out so well, so he either had to take on some debt and to buy more inventory and make a change in the store. The old business model literally wasn't working, and the old business model is what we would call the mom and pop business model. Now, a lot of people call small independent music stores, they call them all mom and pop. I resent that a little bit because I have a wife. She is a mother. We have a son together. And she hates the guitar store. She's been here like 3 times. So this is not a mom and pop operation. This is Pop and a bunch of people working with him. So the idea of the mom and pop thing is you have an owner-operator of the store, perhaps a couple, and they will just kind of work for free in order to generate some profit later. And so the payroll is quite low, and then they get a little bit of profit at the end, and it's a low-risk business as well. It worked out really well right up until, say, 5 or 10 years ago. Because just if you had some stuff that people needed, people had to come to you. They're like, please, I need this thing. I need to fix my thing. Oh yeah, we get one of those. It's a little less important now. But so people call it mom and pop. I don't call it mom and pop. I call this an independent music store. Some independent music stores are married couples. Some are not. And of course, let's not even start with the idea of there can be a mom and a pop and all that kind of stuff. That any kind of family can have a family business, and they don't have to be a married couple or anything like that. So bought this guitar store, and I thought about it. I said no, and then I thought about it again. I said no, why not? Gary self-financed it, so I just gave him what he called a monthly payment the store could afford. So I would pay him out of monthly profits, which led to the first 2 years of me taking on debt and making no money. And when I say no money, I mean no money. And the store has slowly, over the years, and then we had the pandemic hit just right after that happened. And that changed retail a lot. And I have some people work for me. I got some independent contractors. So we do repairs on guitars and amps, and we do lessons. And all those people are independent contractors. I have people who specialize in working in the store. That they've been here for years now. It's quite a little community, and I kind of feel myself in charge of keeping all these people in their jobs. And once in a while, I'm like looking at the numbers, and I'm like, when I have to like take a couple $1,000s out of my personal checking and move it into the store fund, I'm like, why am I doing this? And the reason why I'm doing this is because I bought this thing to keep it going, and everyone has a job, and they need to make money and pay their mortgages and all that kind of stuff, and that's kind of my responsibility too. And I think in business, you do have a responsibility to the people who work for you, and the people who work for you have a responsibility to you as well to keep this thing going. And I'm really fortunate with that. I got great people working with me and for me here. So, what do we do? So let's talk about the old mom and pop era versus the new era. Of course, all of retail is in reduction. And when you're in a market that is in reduction, sometimes it's easier to grow in a declining market than it is in a growing market. Because in a growing market, everyone's trying to get in there, trying to maximize their own profit, push, push, push. But when you have a declining market, you have people trying to get out of it. Or you have less people competing to get into it and to make the next generation of that market. And that's where the guitar market is now. I take this example from a friend of mine who bought a Clam Hut 30 something years ago. Now, if you don't know what a Clam Hut is, it's one of the places on the side of the road where they served fried food. Fried food is less popular than ever. It's a very niche market, and these places used to be everywhere all over New England, and now you have to drive for hours to find one. But he did, and he took it, and he made it work as a business, and he made it grow as a business. And that's, of my, kind of business mentors or people whose businesses I've looked toward, that's one thing. This is kind of the Clam Hot thing, where I'm buying something that is less popular than it used to be, but still popular enough, and if I can do it really well, I can be the best. And then people will, in turn, go out of their way to come here. And so that's what we do as an independent store. We have a Guitar Center a couple of miles away. Luckily, it's not a very good Guitar Center. It's one of their smaller stores, and they have a lot of turnover in staff. And so people ask me, about Guitar Center, and I've made other videos about the business of Guitar Center, and people ask me, is it a problem being so close to a Guitar Center? No, I wish they were even closer, so that people can go to Guitar Center, get dissatisfied, and come here. But we do have people who often come here directly from Guitar Center because someone there told them to come here, an employee often. And then also because there are no other independent music stores in the area. There were 7 music stores in this small town when Gary opened the store, and now there's one small store and one big store, and that's it. So it's a difficult business just to kind of like paddle along and get through. So what do? We buy things from suppliers. 2 kinds of suppliers. You have the manufacturers who sell their own goods, and you have secondary markets where they accumulate a lot of goods from other manufacturers and then resell them, assumably. So let's say the first one would be Fender. Fender sells and distributes their own guitars. We have a deal directly with them, and they give us a decent margin by today's standards. The margin right now is 40%-ish. And that's just, but you got to pay to get it shipped sometimes, and then you got to pay to, there's other expenses involved. It's not like you buy something if you buy something for $60 and sell it for $100, you don't get to keep 40 of those dollars. I get to keep maybe 10 of those dollars at the end of the day, which is fine. It's something. So you have that. You have the major suppliers who supply directly. This store now deals more with direct suppliers than before. And the old mom and pop, I'm air quoting that, business model, you would have people, they rely much more on the smaller distributors or redistributors of stuff. That's companies like KMC, the music people. You may have heard of these companies. St. Louis Music. They'll sell some of everything in music, all sorts, not just for guitar, just for all sorts of music shops. And their markup tends to be something more like 30-ish%, because they take a little chunk. They make a deal with whoever they're getting it from. They take a chunk and then they just pass it on as a supplier to a retailer. And then we have instruments that come in used from customers or people selling their instruments, and that creates the third kind of input into what we sell, which is just generally used equipment. Most of it needs some kind of work before we resell it. So as a repair shop, we take that on, and we can use it as a value added to support that sale. So I've already been talking for nearly 10 minutes. So I do believe this is the end of episode 1. So we're just getting into it, though. There's a lot more information. So check out our other YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram stuff, and wherever you happen to interact with independent businesses. And thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.